not the role is something which is, you can't just say, yeah, what difference does it make whether I know that this is a role or whether I think it is me. It makes huge difference. But that knowledge, you cannot say, will make the person indifferent to the role.
It has to be at a subtle level.
You have to understand where that position of that role is and how important it is to play that role, but at the same time understand I'm much more than that role. That's what will make you engage fully and at the same time have inner freedom.
Because you have to have action.
You can't, absolutely. If you use this reality that I'm not the role and play not a convincing role of a beggar, you will get stones from the audience.
That's actually very well explained.
That's a very well explained. It's a very well explained. Thank you, Priya. That's very well articulated. Okay, Vedanta, for Vedanta you need a refined, just the whole thing is far more refined than what the simplistic categories that we make, and we don't understand the intricacies. That's what takes us off. Okay, and therefore and also we translated, because if I'm free, then in every relationship there should be total freedom. Is it possible? Not possible.
Because it's at the Vyavaharika.
Yeah, at the Vyavaharika level. Okay, so therefore this is
Sorry, just 1 second. Back to what she said. See, engaging fully is also part of the dharmic and karmic duty, right?
Absolutely. So this is where, when I talk about karma and I talk about dharma, at what level am I talking about? Vyavaharika.
And Swadharma.
Swadharma, everything is at Vyavaharika level. So that means I have to, if I really want to align to realities, I also have to align not just that Paramarthika, but also at empirical world. I have to understand how empirical world works, and I need to align. Good. I'm so happy you asked these questions, Nandita, because these questions trigger huge, clarity. Because after years of Vedanta, people don't know how to use this knowledge in its right way. Not at all, not at all. This is something with reference to which I tell you, this is a critical question that you asked. It's extremely important. It will always remain a fuzzy thing. So no, please don't think like that. And how to live a proper, healthy, meaningful life with this vision. And not to multiply your confusions even using this vision inappropriately. Okay, so therefore this so now the one thing, what is the time? 12. No, we still have time or not? Okay, so now back to Arjuna's question. Arjuna asks this question and he says, this reality that you are telling me is what? It's an already accomplished fact. You don't need to do anything to make Atma what? Free. It's already free. Okay? So he says, if Atma is already free, and if the purpose of life is to know this reality about oneself, then what should I be doing? Just studying and knowing what the nature of Atma is. So here he says, he asks his question, Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tatkim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava. If Atma is already free and my whole confusion comes from not knowing that Atma, then my whole pursuit should be what?
To know.
To know this Atma. Then he says, if that is the case, why are you asking me to do karma? To do actions? And not just some ordinary action, it is what? Karmani ghora. Ghora karma means this is a very difficult action that you are asking me to perform, and that is what? Fighting against my own cousins and also waging a huge war. Clever question.
It comes exactly back to our
It
discussion.
comes back to what, like what Nandita is saying. If I just need to know that, I just should know that. Why should I do anything? Because Atma is already free. And my,
Can I answer the question?
yes, please do.
It's because he's saying that you're understanding all this, but you are living at the Vyavaharika level, so you've got to act. You can't just be in this delusional Paramarthika level.
Wonderful.
Play the role.
You have to play the role. You have to engage.
To fight against adharma. There's dharma.
Yes, absolutely. Right? So the very question implies that the person hasn't understood. And therefore, what Lord Krishna is saying is, you can't use this reality, which is a half-baked reality, as Krishna says. We think that we know, but actually, how many people have clarity about, all these completely clearly understood? It takes time. Okay, so he says, in order to understand it accurately, you also have to understand that there are 3 levels. And at that level, what is appropriate is, you can't use this knowledge of Atma being free to not do what needs to be done. Because this whole problem that he is faced with is at empirical level. So using this reality and not doing your karma and not responding to situations appropriately means what? You haven't understood in the first place. Because if you had really understood, you would not ask this question. That means you're mixing up.
That means you are just shirking your response.
Yeah, you're using this so-called superficial knowledge which you haven't even really understood to to respond to situations appropriately.
And that's actually lazy.
That's being lazy. Right? So therefore, Lord Krishna is saying that at empirical level, now there is one more dimension which is added. He says, the next verse, it's a most beautiful verse, and that completes, this next verse completes the discussion of Karma Yoga, and then it moves on to another topic. Okay. The next verse is, Yagnathat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara. Okay. So up to now, how the empirical world works, we saw 2 things. As Shona was saying, one is what? Law of dharma and law of karma. Okay. Now there is the third reality that you must keep in mind when you are acting in this world, and that is yajnatha. That then completes your vision of how this whole empirical world works. Yajna means something, it's actually a Vedic ritual. Okay? Every morning you get up and you see the reality of the interconnectedness of the world. Okay? The sun, which is what so far away from you, has a role to play in your existence. You're connected. Your life is connected to the sun. Your life is connected to the waters. Your life is connected to the trees. Your life is connected to all the air. Your life is connected to all the different individuals that are known to you and unknown to you. That you come in this whole empirical world is what we call Indra's net. Connections within connections within connections within connections. Okay? And if you live your life as though you against the world, you are, what is your vision? You are part of one whole system, and you don't recognize that whole system and your part in it. You see yourself as what? An individual, and system as something which is outside of you. What is going to be the nature of your action? Irresponsible. Selfish, grabbing, self-centered. Okay? You need to come out of that framework. You need to bring in mind reality of interconnectedness. It's a fact. Whole Vedanta is all about being alive to facts. It's not about advice. It's not about controlling the mind. It's what giving your mind what right information so that it grows and it becomes wise. Okay, so this is whole thing about imagine every morning you remind yourself about your interconnectedness with everything else. All the elements, human beings, living beings, everything. Okay, that will lead to some major fundamental shifts in your psyche. These shifts are from isolation to connection. Not an ordinary shift. This isolation that we have with reference to world, feeling lonely, feeling uncared for. Okay? Then from dissatisfaction. The minute things don't happen my way, there is this whole dissatisfaction. From dissatisfaction to gratitude. So many, in fact, it's interesting, 10 years ago, or 10-15 years ago, when I was with the UN, there was a whole study about what is going to be the next challenge in the world, right? And many years ago, almost 15 years ago, they identified water as one of the biggest problems. Potable water. And I used to wonder, I said, on this earth, how much is water? 70% water and 30% land. So that means there is so much water, we are surrounded by nothing but water, yet what is going to be the problem? Water. Scarcity of water. Okay, so that means with all this technology, what we haven't figured out is how to use all this ocean water to make it into potable water. But we have come in this design, in that design, it knows how to do it. The universe, the world, the earth, how does it make the ocean water into potable water? What is the mechanism? Through the rains. This evaporations. So that means our human technology, we are nowhere near it, but we have come in a design where that technology is available. Okay? That ocean water is evaporated with sun, forms into clouds, and at the right point it brings water in form of rains, which then becomes potable drinking water.
That's why they started cloud seeding as one of the sort of remedies.
So that means if you want to intervene, what do? Do you just randomly do something? You have to see how the world works. You have to understand the whole system, and within that system there are intelligent interventions. Because you come in a system which is not a random system, it's all interconnected. Interconnected with incredible amount of intelligence and precision. So this is why for a few days it was interesting that in my building there was no water at all. There's like, and I live right in front of the ocean. This is irony.
Yet they can't do it
We
on a
feel
viable
so
basis.
powerful. Exactly, they still can't do it.
But it would be interfering too much. That's what global warming is. If you do it in one, if you do it say in front of your house, what about the trees? What about the currents? What about
So
the
that means in this whole system, everything is what? Interconnected in not just random, exactly, some random manner. It is so intricately put together to meet with all my needs. But if I mindlessly disturb the whole ecology of things, then what am I doing?
cause and effect? Like in our actions, if there's a reaction.
I am disturbing this whole Indra's net. When I disturb that, then what happens? Everything ultimately comes back to me. When it comes back to me, then I say, oh, poor me. I didn't do anything to deserve this. From one non-understanding to the other. Okay? So that means dissatisfaction has to change to what? Gratitude based on what? Based on knowing how not only we are interconnected, but there is an extremely sophisticated system within which we are interconnected.
And actually, from what you said, I mean, we may be the financial capital and all this power, but the whole city depends on rain for water.
Absolutely.
So, no mountains, no rivers flowing in. So Mumbai waits for the monsoon. If it rains, you have water, otherwise you don't.
Otherwise you don't. And that's what people told me, that, oh, wait till May and there will be no water also. I said, wow. This Bihar lake and Powai lake has to fill. Otherwise there is no water. Yeah, absolutely.
Only rain is the only source of our water.
Yeah.
You said one statement, understanding interconnectedness takes it from isolation to what?
Connection. From dissatisfaction to gratitude. You have to hey, this is the whole system is working. Okay? And finally, it has to evolve you from being a consumer to being a contributor. That is the highest expression of your growth. Because the system is designed in a way that you are given a lot more than you can ever give back. Essentially, it's a benevolent system. Every need of yours is taken care of. You're born as a child. How long does it take for some animal, the birds to be independent? Huh? In a very few days, they fly off, they go off. But a human child is born what? Completely dependent. You don't know how to cook your food, you don't know how to drink, you don't know how to walk, you don't know how to speak. And you are given parents. Parents, hopefully, and most of them do. For those parents, you become more important than themselves. That is what nature nature's mechanism. When your survival becomes more important to them than they themselves. That is amazing design to protect a child. Those emotions, have you created? Have I created? That we are given with that design. Benevolent. Okay, all along, wherever you go, okay, all this, you go and study any one thing, right? You study physics. How many people have spent hours thinking on physics and come up with all these theories which now become available to you to be known? Imagine if you had to rediscover everything.
Yeah, that's what then allows the future generations to discover more based on that.
Based on, we always build on knowledge, and it's a contribution of how many individuals? Somebody sitting out there thinking, what, contributing their whole life to science has contributed to what you're learning. You don't even know who that person is. Okay. The system is extremely benevolent. Then what all the friends who come along with it, what do they do to you?
They make you grow.
They make you grow. Absolutely. Even the fights that you have had with them, they help in what? They enrich you in some way. But all this, when the fight actually happens, what is your perspective? He's so bad and he's so mean, and how could he do this to me? But as you grow, and as you say, hey, you are living in that system, everybody contributed to you being who you are. Okay, then the whole thing becomes what? One whole, when every experience can enrich you. Okay, so therefore there is this whole thing about this system within which you are born, and that the system is designed in a way that it takes care of all your needs. That means it is giving you everything that you need. Now, where is our focus?
What we think it's not giving us.
Our whole focus is everything that we have, we take for granted. And everything that we don't have is what?
Reason to be sad.
Reason to be sad.
Dissatisfaction.
Dissatisfaction. That whole thing is grab. How can I manipulate the system to what? Grab more and more and more.
Based on our pratibhasika.
Absolutely. Based on our pratibhasika, because we don't even know that we come within this interconnected system. We just see ourselves as isolated beings. Okay? There, the minute you begin to become a contributor and not a grabber, that is showing how mature you are as a person. What you have understood about life, what you have understood about this empirical world. Okay, that shift from being a consumer to a contributor is a huge shift. Your heart has to open up. This limitlessness is not going to take roots in your being if you feel small and insignificant and you are this consumer, dissatisfied grabber. It will take no roots. It will not even ring as a reality. The nature is designed in a way that you can't avoid this growth. You have to, in order to be a deserving recipient of this knowledge. certain amount of generosity, certain amount of wanting to help others, doing something. You can't avoid that process. If you feel that if you want to prepare yourself for this knowledge, this is non-negotiable. Every difficulty which can come your way, it can actually trigger that growth. I have seen people who have gone through some major, profound losses, and the only healthy way in which they have become kind of productive is by becoming big contributors. They have started some amazing projects and accomplished just too big a thing. Okay, so that means that growth is in that when you shift from the person who is wanting more and more to giving, that is the culmination of what you're using your free will appropriately. Swadharma, Samanya Dharma and Lokasangraha. Lokasangraha means become a contributor. One was that first Samanya Dharma, which is your universal ethical values, it starts with that. Then Swadharma, duties and responsibilities, and ultimately it culminates into Lokasangraha. Then it's complete. That is the highest expression of your free will. You use that capacity of choice to live a meaningful life. Become a contributor. Lokasangraha. On duties and responsibilities. But here you are just not performing your duties and responsibilities and doing whatever. It is just stepping one step forward and becoming active to become, a contributor to people that you may know and people who you may not know, right? People do all these projects, what Teach for India. Yeah, cancer is so many times, and I just will stop. It's like way beyond the time. Okay, so I will talk about it next time. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.